why do you apply different standards for a man? The standards you have for men are a lot higher than the standards you would have for a woman. Why do you apply different standards depending on the gender, when arguably if you date both, it's actually about the person?
Yeah, like, no, that's a really good point. I think because arguably it's just easier to be a man, and so therefore you're like, well, it's easier for you to get
Why is it easier to be a man when men...
I mean, the gender pay gap just says it all.
Okay, but there's also a gap in, like, men commit suicide more. Men are dropping out of colleges more.
That's toxic masculinity. That's toxic masculinity. That men can't speak about.
So then why are we saying that there's, like, a patriarchy when men have it hard too? You just said women have it harder than men. But if women had it harder than men, like, then why are men...
I didn't say they had it harder. I just said it's easier to be a guy.
But okay, if it's easier to be a guy, then why do more men commit suicide?
Because they feel, because of toxic masculinity, which is perpetuated by both men and women, they feel like they have to be macho, and I don't subscribe to that at all.
Welcome to the TIP Network, where we help you level up with self-improvement and
with a little sprinkle of sarcasm.
So what I gotta say here is, like, number one, all right, I'm gonna say this, the toxic masculinity portion, right? I think we have enough body of evidence on content creators bringing up with multiple data points where it shows that women are not as attractive to guys when they show their vulnerabilities. Maybe I'm just using anecdotal evidence from what I've seen, but I've noticed a trend where guys will be like, hey dude, you gotta like shapen up, you gotta toughen up, but we're here for you. We actually do provide empathy to other guys, but we tell them, you gotta get your stuff together, we're here for you, but you gotta keep working. But for some reason with women, it's the same way. Women want to have you show all your vulnerabilities, show your emotions, wear your emotions on your sleeve, but then attraction starts to recede away. They start to dry up like the Sahara Desert.
I want you to show all of your emotions so I can go hump the guy with no emotions.
Yep, or I'll go after your friend right there, right? Or I'll go after my coworker right there. So that's why, like, I don't get this.
What women are gonna do, it's like children. I'm telling you. They don't know what satisfies them. They don't know what's satisfying to them. So the abuse they give you that works when she knows that you are going to be the guy that hangs around and is going to be unhappy about not getting the pussy but still hang around. She does. It's like a.
This is like the toxic masculinity, but is it really toxic masculinity when the women are showing that they're not attracted to guys that are showing their emotions and showing their vulnerabilities?
Well, you know, what I got from that clip was an obvious double speak and a fumbling of the message. So first thing that this person said was that it's harder to be a woman than a man, right? That's the first thing she said. Was
depending on where you are around the world.
Harder to be a woman than a man, right?
But in the UK and the United States.
But we're just talking about
Canada.
the West. We're just going to talk about the West here. Because if we had to talk about all of these countries that we don't inhabit,
we have no idea.
We have no idea, and we have no idea of the culture. We have no idea if women like that or not. Let's talk about the West. She says that it's inherently more difficult. Then when Pearl turns around and says that why do more men self-deletion, more men drop out of college, also I can throw in another fact: more men have on-the-job death fatalities. And she said, well, I'm not saying it's harder in all cases. Well, no, you did say it's harder.
I mean, if
you just said it was harder. Then when you had some evidence, you changed immediately, which at least you're understanding enough to change your beliefs. But the first thing that people say is the gender pay gap, and nobody ever says why is there a gender pay gap. And so that's the thing. I want
to say this. You want to know why it's harder for men? Why? We just have to look at one situation, and we can get as much data, as much evidence as we can from this particular situation.
Divorce?
What's happening over in Eastern Europe?
War.
Who's going to war and who is being forced to be fighting for their country?
Every man of age to fight is conscripted in the Ukrainian army, and they need to go.
Exactly. And if you happen to have transitioned over to another sex, well, that doesn't matter. If you were born biologically male,
you're still going.
You are serving.
You're still going.
All right. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. So
men are conscripted. We have to sign up for the selective service, and we are. That double standard is real, and we understand the consequences of being a male.
Yeah,
we know that we must fight to defend our home, and fight to defend our family, and fight to defend our lineage.
Yeah, it's just like in a family court system. The women are automatically given the children, unless they have to be super unfit. They have to be like the worst human beings, like in jail or like a repeating drug addict. Like, and honestly, I've seen situations when a woman is literally on drugs when she has the baby, gets clean, and 5 years later comes back and gets full custody of their child from the father, even though the father did nothing wrong. So I've seen that before. So it's absolutely ludicrous. I will say that there are situations where it is more difficult to be a man than a woman. There are situations where obviously it can be more difficult to be a woman than a man. But saying that it's automatically a blanket statement is automatically false.
It's false.
And I would say the empirical evidence says that right now in the United States, and then right now in the world, with wars going on and more men self-deleting, more men dropping out of school, that it's harder to be a man right now.
So I just want to add this on real quick before you start again, is that in Ukraine too, is that they were sending their Ukrainian women outside because they wanted to make sure that Ukrainian culture would still proliferate,
right,
and that there would still be more Ukrainian boys that grow up to be men later on.
So,
just in case Ukraine becomes decimated and there is no more Ukrainian culture.
So basically all the 65-year-old Ukrainian dudes who didn't have to fight, they're getting it in with the youngsters.
Jeez. You went there. You can't believe you went there.
When you get 50, you start thinking like, hey! No, I'm playing. Well, no, it's, how are they going to procreate?
Yeah.
How are they going to procreate? And so, like, this is a very delicate situation, but I'm going to tell you that this is one of the situations where I do believe that modern feminism has failed the understanding of how the world really is. And I think when feminism first came, and feminism was super important and super necessary, but now I think we're just to the point where we're just
overcorrected too far.
We're just picking fights.
And we're heading to a different direction.
We're picking fights and we're picking battles that don't need to be done. It doesn't need to be done anymore. It's so. That's
so to me, what I always feel like I must say is that we start to fixate on the wrong things where we're overcorrecting too much. The thing is, there's predatory countries, predatory entities, predatory governments that are willing or that are just waiting to pounce on us the moment we start to weaken.
Yeah.
And it seems like to me that the more our society disintegrates, where we are losing some of these foundational pillars that keep our society to where we are a superpower in the world, I mean, people are going to take advantage of that. We're so fixated on these crazy little overcorrection situations that we're not realizing what's happening to our society. We are slowly crumbling.
Well, I mean, something is happening. You can't blame toxic masculinity on these mass shootings. You can't blame toxic masculinity on just a degrading way of life. You can't blame that on toxic masculinity. What you have to blame it on is that we're so busy looking at weird things that we're not holding the people who we entrust to run the country accountable. And that's what's really going on.
Could it be possible that men have a harder life than women?
Yeah, of course it could be possible. Of course it could be.
Okay.
So she just said that men don't have a harder life. Now she changed her mind. So this is the most, to me, this is the most fumbling of a message that I've seen somebody.
So that would contradict what you said earlier.
Well, this is it. It's not black and white. It's not right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's gray area, baby.
Yeah.
So everything is, there's no very solid. So yeah, that's, and even the whole rule and exception, it's not one size fits all. It's really not. Where there are some men who thrive and succeed because they're a man, because life is easy. Therefore, I'd be like, I would expect you.
Okay,
to have
I'm gonna give you an
income.
example. My dad's the top half a percentage of earners. Okay, he's the white man, right? But here's the thing. He worked 80 hours a week my whole life. I didn't get to see him.
Yeah.
How is that the patriarchy when my dad put in 80 hours every week his whole life? From the time I was a child, right? Missed a lot of shit. He earned that.
Yeah.
And I'm never gonna.
What I really wanted to point out there is, especially when she said the top percent, I get so tired. And it makes me sick to my stomach when I see people, this man, he's just going to rule the world. It's not. Look, this person isn't going to work to support the patriarchy. He's going to work to support his family. My dad woke up every morning and he went to work at a job that he really didn't like. He didn't like being a carpenter after he got out of the military. And then sometimes he was working as a butcher. He would work as a janitorial service. He would do everything, 2 jobs. He worked side jobs on the weekend. He didn't do that to be toxic. He did that to take care of his family. And I'm so tired of folks. They take away from the hard work that these men do. And then
that's toxic masculinity.
Then they turn around and they say it's toxic masculinity.
He's working too much. He's not seeing his family.
Or the patriarchy. And guess what?
You can't win.
Back in the day, when women were women, when women appreciated hardworking men, they would actually say that, wow, you got a man who works that much and he brings his check home and he's supporting your family like that? You're lucky. How did you do that? What did you do to get this man to do that for you? And then even when things got tougher, both my parents worked. It wasn't it was my parents worked my whole life. And it wasn't, my mom always, even when they separated, she always said, your dad's a hard-working man. He's a real man. And my dad always said, man, your mom always went to work. She always helped me support, and she was still.
So where can a traditional woman be where they're both working? Like how does a traditional woman look like if they're both working?
Well, I mean,
what would it define that?
Well, I would say this, like, you got to have gender roles. But as a man, if you know your woman's working, you don't just come home and expect her to slave and do everything. You help out what you're supposed to do, but there's certain jobs that it's just going to be better for you to do. Like yard work, like the outside and upkeep, like maintenance in the house, like maintenance on a car. There's plenty of stuff for you to do, you know. And also, if you have kids, what are your kids doing? Sitting around doing nothing? No, your kids should be cleaning up the house. Your kids should be helping with chores because that's how you give them responsibility and get them there. So all of this BS, patriarchy and stuff like this, I'm just tired of it. Is there a patriarchal system? Yes, but what you're talking about is 100 to 200 people in this country who have an immense amount of wealth who are sitting on, who don't even understand what it is to work hard. But if you're talking about upper middle class folks or middle class folks who go to work every day, the garbage man who wakes up at 4 a.m. to pick up the garbage, who you disrespect, saying that he's not good enough to get with you.
You're not willing to submit.
Not willing to submit to him because he's a garbage man. The plumber, the network engineers, all of these folks who get up, who work hard, who built themselves to do that, right? You need to start respecting that and stop saying that they're part of the patriarchy and start understanding that these are men who go to work hard to support their family. I mean, I've been working 6 and 7 days a week for the last 10 years. So honestly, since 2014.
Well, what I found really fascinating is that she says that it's still toxic masculinity. So I think that the argument's always going to be it's toxic masculinity. Now he's working too much. That's toxic masculinity. He's not helping with the kids because he's working too much. It's toxic masculinity.
He's not working enough.
You can't win.
Too lazy.
You can't win.
Masculinity.
In fact, okay. This is the
total
conclusion that we can draw. The moment you hear a woman saying it's toxic masculinity after you put out all those points, she's a woman that she's only for a fun time. In fact, she might not even be a fun time.
She belongs to the streets.
She belongs to the streets. Woman that you have to stay far away from. Like she's a contagion.
Yeah.
All right.
A contagion.
Contagion. Because you don't want to be around that contagious energy.
So you walk up to her with like an asbestos suit. Hi, how you doing? I would like you to please exit the area.
And guys, one thing I'm going to tell you, let the woman talk. Be an active listener. Listen to what she has to say. Ask probing questions to get more of what she's thinking, her mindset, her ideals, her ideology. Then make your decision there, whether you want to be with her or not. Right? Man, maybe is she more trouble than she's worth to have fun in the sack? Or to be committed to a relationship?
Scott is too nice.
Hey.
Like, so, as soon as I'm talking to somebody and they start talking that bullshit, I understand absolutely. Like, I mean, I got friends right now, 40 years old, 45 years old, talking that bullshit. And I'd be like, that's why you're by yourself.
Winter is coming.
That's why you're by yourself. And you know what? They're totally happy. I'm going to just be by myself. I got my cats and I got my birds and I got my dog. It's like, well, be by yourself then. Be by yourself.
But if they had the choice to be with a Chad, would they take it?
Yeah,
but most likely the Chad must cook. He must clean. He must make over $200,000 a year. He must have a six-pack abs. He must have a full hairline.
And by the way, I found out that it's not only 6 feet tall. The optimum Chaz is between 6'4" and 6'5".
6'4" and 6'5".
Yeah, so he has to be the top 3% of human beings walking the earth. Like he will want your dusty ass. Look, shout out to Just Pearly. Thanks, dude. Once again, a lot of great content to react to. Somebody who, since we consider ourselves content creator, meaning that we enjoy content creation, we try to do it right. Salute, just crossed 100,000. Did a 24-hour live stream. Gonna be at, she'll be at 200,000 before the end of summer, I think. I mean, she's just in her growth spurt, you know. So salute to her. Any closing thoughts to this?
No, where can they follow you at?
You can follow me at the gram at IamGorilla1. You can follow this guy at
ScottT. And also make sure you like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell all the way up. And of course, you can join us at the TIPTube.
Right here, the button right down there.
Yep.
And also, you can follow us at all our social medias
at Tip Network. And if you hit the TIPTube, hit us up on any social media network, hit us with a DM, and we will send you a personal greeting. Question of the day is
modern day feminism working?
All right, is modern day feminism working?
There we go.
All right, you know, and ask yourself another burning question.
Can you handle the tip?
And if you can, booty in your face. Boom. We're out. We found true happiness.